Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Unlocked English. It's really good to have you here again. Wherever you are, maybe you're on a walk, on a bus, cooking something, or just relaxing. I'm so happy that you're spending a little time today improving your English. In this episode, we're going to talk about something many learners dream about: how to move from B1 to C2, how to go from intermediate to advanced, or even near native English. Now, that sounds like a big journey, doesn't it? From B1 to C2. It's like going from being a traveler in the English world to actually living there comfortably. It's not about just knowing English anymore. It's about feeling it, thinking in it, and using it naturally. So today, I want to share with you my personal experience, the mistakes I made, the things that helped me, and some advice I've learned from teaching and learning languages for many years. If you're at B1 or B2 now, this episode is for you. When I was around B1 level, I remember that feeling of being stuck. Do you know what I mean? You can understand a lot. You can talk about familiar topics. You can survive in conversations, but something's missing. You want to speak more naturally. You want to sound fluent, but sometimes the words don't come fast enough. You listen to native speakers and think, wow, how can they speak so fast? How can they sound so natural? I remember that feeling very well. It's like you build a small house, strong and safe, but you want to make it bigger, brighter, and more beautiful. You already have the base, but now it's time to decorate it. So how do we do that? How do we move from B1 to C2? Let's talk about that. First, I want to tell you something important. Moving from B1 to C2 is not about studying harder. It's about studying smarter. At this level, you already know a lot of grammar, vocabulary, and basic expressions. What you need now is depth, understanding how the language really works in real life. Think of it like this. At B1, you know how to survive in English. At C2, you know how to live in English. So the question is, how do you make that jump from survival to living comfortably in the language? I'll tell you what worked for me. When I was learning, I realized that grammar and vocabulary alone weren't enough. I could understand the rules, but in conversation, I sometimes sounded robotic like a textbook. So I decided to change how I learned. Instead of studying English as a subject, I started using English as a tool for living. I started watching movies without subtitles. Yes, it was hard at first. I read short stories every night. I kept a diary in English, nothing complicated. Just small thoughts like, today I felt tired, or I went for a walk and it was beautiful. And slowly, my English started to grow, not just in my head, but in my feeling. Do you ever feel that sometimes you think in your own language first and then translate? That's okay. Everyone does that at first. But to reach C2, you have to start thinking directly in English. You don't need to translate everything. You just need to let English become part of your daily world. So here's a question for you. How much English do you live with every day? Not study, live with. Do you listen to it, read it, write it, speak it, even a little bit every day? Because that's where real progress begins. At B1, many people still focus too much on grammar perfection. But at higher levels, fluency is more important than perfection. You'll make mistakes, that's okay. Even native speakers make small mistakes every day. What really matters is your ability to communicate clearly and confidently. You can always fix your grammar later, but first, build your flow. When I teach, I always say, don't aim for perfect grammar. Aim for natural rhythm. Because when your English flows, people understand you, even if you make small errors. Have you ever met someone who speaks English with an accent, but you still enjoy listening to them? That's because fluency and confidence make communication beautiful, not perfection. Let's talk about input and output. These are two very important ideas for language learning. Input means what you take in listening, reading, watching. Output means what you produce, speaking, and writing. To move from B1 to C2, you need a lot of input, more than you think. You can't speak what you haven't heard. You can't write what you haven't read. So, one of the best ways to grow is to surround yourself with English every day. Listen to podcasts, watch YouTube videos, read books, or even Instagram captions in English. But here's the trick. Choose things you enjoy. If you love cooking, watch English videos about cooking. If you love travel, watch vlogs about travel. When you connect English with your interests, learning becomes a part of your lifestyle, not a task on your to-do list. When I was learning, I used to listen to English songs and look up the lyrics. I didn't just listen, I studied the words, the expressions, the rhythm, and later, when I talked to people, I noticed those same words appearing naturally in conversation. That's how I learned to feel the language, not just memorize it. And that's something I want you to remember. Language is not just a system of rules. It's a living thing. To reach C2, you have to live with a language every day, even in small ways. For example, change your phone to English. Think in English when you're planning your day. Talk to yourself in English, yes, out loud. It may sound strange, but it works. You're training your brain to use English naturally. Now let's talk about reading. At B1, you might still read short texts or simple articles. But to reach C2, you should start reading more complex materials, novels, essays, opinion articles. Don't worry if you don't understand everything. That's normal. The goal isn't to understand 100%. It's to stay curious and to keep going even when it's difficult. I remember reading my first full book in English. It was The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. I didn't understand every word, but I kept reading, and every page made me feel stronger. When I finished the book, I felt like I had climbed a small mountain. So ask yourself, when was the last time you read something challenging in English? If it's been a while, maybe it's time to pick up something new. Listening is another big step. At B1, you probably understand slow and clear speech, like mine right now. But to reach C2, you'll need to challenge your ears with natural, fast English, podcasts, real conversations, movies without subtitles. At first, it's going to be hard. You'll feel lost, but that's normal. That confusion is part growth. Your brain is learning to catch rhythm, intonation, and sound patterns. You don't have to understand every word. Just keep listening. After a few weeks, you'll be surprised by how much you start to recognize. When I was learning, I used to listen to the same short podcast every morning while brushing my teeth. At first, I understood maybe half. Then, one day, I realized I understood almost everything. That's when I knew I was improving, even without noticing. Now, what about speaking? This is usually the hardest part. Many learners feel shy or scared to speak English. They worry about sounding strange or making mistakes. But here's the truth. The only way to become fluent is to speak again and again. You can't think your way to fluency. You have to talk your way there. Even if you don't have someone to talk to, you can practice by yourself. You can repeat what you hear, read out loud, describe what you see around you, or answer podcast questions like the ones I ask here. Every time you speak, you're training your mouth, your brain, and your confidence. When I was learning, I used to record myself speaking. Then I listened and compared it with native speakers. It was uncomfortable at first. Nobody likes hearing their own voice, but it helped me so much. I could hear my mistakes, fix them, and feel my progress. Now, let's talk about writing. Many people forget that writing is one of the most powerful tools to move from B1 to C2. When you write, you slow down and think carefully. You learn to use grammar naturally, and you find your own voice in English. You don't have to write essays. Start with small things, a daily journal, a message to a friend, a short post on social media. The goal isn't perfection, it's consistency. Every day, a few sentences are enough. One exercise I love is writing the same story in different styles. For example, write about your day normally. Today I went to work and met my friend. Then write again using more advanced words. This morning, I headed to work and unexpectedly ran into a friend. See the difference? Same meaning, but more natural. That's how you train your level towards C2. And now let's talk about mindset. Because honestly, this is the most important part. You can have the best materials and still not improve if your mindset isn't strong. Moving from B1 to C2 takes time, sometimes years. It's not a straight line. Some days you'll feel amazing, and other days you'll feel like you forgot everything. That's okay. That's part of learning. The key is consistency. Small steps every day. 15 minutes of real practice is better than 3 hours once a week. Remember, language learning is like growing a tree. You water it a little every day. You don't see the growth immediately, but one day you realize it's strong and tall. Let me ask you this. Why do you want to reach C2? Is it for work, study, travel, or just because you love the language? Whatever your reason is, keep it close, because when learning gets hard, and it will, that reason will keep you going. For me, my reason was connection. I wanted to talk to people around the world, to read books and understand songs in their original form. And every time I struggled, I remembered that feeling. That motivation became my fuel. At C2 level, something special happens. You start to think differently. You can express ideas clearly, understand humor, feel the rhythm of culture in the language. It's not just English anymore. It becomes part of who you are. But that transformation doesn't happen overnight. It happens quietly. Every time you read, listen, speak, and think in English. So be patient with yourself. Celebrate small victories. Did you understand a new word today? That's progress. Did you have a short conversation in English without translating? That's progress too. Before we finish, let's review what we talked about today. Learn smarter, not harder. Think in English, don't translate. Listen a lot, even when it's hard. Speak often, even alone. Write daily, even short notes. Stay consistent and kind to yourself. If you do these small things every day, you will grow, maybe slowly, but surely. And one day, you'll realize something amazing. You're not just learning English anymore. You are English. It has become part of your thoughts, your habits, your way of seeing the world. Thank you so much for listening today. I hope this episode gave you some inspiration and practical ideas to help you on your journey from B1 to C2. Remember, you're already doing something great just by listening to this podcast. That means you care, you're curious, and you're growing. Keep going, step by step, word by word. Your English will open more doors than you can imagine. I'm proud of you for being here. Take care, stay positive, and keep unlocking your English. See you in the next episode. Bye for now.